Good day, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast, Life Treasures and Golden Moments. This is Natalie Silver. Well, hope everybody's doing good out there and enjoying the summer. Boy, it's been hot, hasn't it? It's supposed to have a cool down this next week, which will be wonderful for all of us. Well, today I'd like to share a special story, not the whole book or anything, but I found this book by this wonderful author, Richard Templar. It's called The Rules of Life, and it's a personal code for living a better, happier, more successful life. And Richard has written 100 different rules that we can use to make our lives better. And I thought I'd share some of them with you today. So I hope you enjoy this and it'll be uplifting for you. So let us think about the world's happiest, most contented, most fulfilled people. How did they get that way? Is it their genes? No. Money? Absolutely not. It's about the small choices they make every day. Things you can do, things you can change. It's about what they know, and you can learn today a little bit by listening to the rules of life. Here they are. Richard has written 100 personal, practical rules for dreaming, planning, living, loving, and overcoming even life's toughest adversities. For knowing what matters and learning from experience using your intuition, changing what you can in distressing and staying younger and getting stronger. Listen to them, learn them, and live them. You'll feel better and you'll live better. You'll be a better friend, a better partner, a better parent, a better child, a better human being. You'll do it, one small simple step at a time, one step a day, every day, starting today. Before I share some of the rules that Richard has written, I'd like to read his introduction so you can understand where he comes from and how he came to write this book. For reasons that are too long and complicated to go into here, I had to live with my grandparents for a couple of years when I was very young. They, like many of their generation, were hard-working, contented sort of people. My grandfather had taken early retirement owing to an industrial accident. A lorry load of bricks fell on his foot, and my grandmother worked in a large department store in London. Having me dumped unexpectedly on her for a while obviously caused logistical problems. I was too young for school, and my grandfather wasn't to be trusted to look after me at home. Men don't look after children in those days. My, how things have changed. Her solution was to tuck me under her wing, on some days physically as well as metaphorically, as she smuggled me past managers and supervisors, and we went to work together. Now, going to work with Nana was fun. I was expected to keep quiet and still for long periods, and because I didn't know any different, assumed this was normal. I found that by watching customers, often from my safe refuge under a huge desk, I could pass the time quite happily. Thus was born an immense appetite for people watching. My mother, later I went back to live with her, said it wouldn't ever get me anywhere. I'm not so sure. You see, early in my career, observation of those around showed that there were a distinct set of behaviors that got people promoted. If there were two people of equal ability, for example, and one was dressed, thought, and behaved as if he had already been promoted, he would be the one who got the next available job at the next level. Putting these behaviors into practice gave me a fast track up the career ladder. These rules formed the basis of my book, Rules of Work, now a bestseller in its field. Just as you can identify behaviors that make some people glide effortlessly onward and upward at work, so can you in life. Observing life in general, people very broadly seem to fall into two main camps. Those who seem to have mastered the knack of successful living, and those who still find it all a bit of a struggle. And when I say successful, mastered, I don't mean by amassing a wealth or being at the top in some stressful career. No, I mean mastered in the old-fashioned sense. that my hard-working grandparents would have understood. People who were content, mostly happy on a day-to-day basis, and in general healthy and getting more out of life. Those who are still struggling tend to be not so happy on the whole, and the enjoyment of life just isn't what it should be. So, what's the secret? The answer comes down to a simple choice. We can all choose to be and do certain things every day of our lives. Some things we do will make us unhappy, and some things we choose to do will make us happier. By observing people, I have reasoned that if we follow a few basic rules of life, we tend to get more done, shrug off adversity more easily, get more out of life, and spread a little happiness around as we go. People who play by the rules seem to bring their luck with them, light up a room when they enter, have more enthusiasm for life, and they even cope better. So what follows are my rules of life. They aren't set in stone, they aren't secret or difficult, and they are based entirely on my observations of happy and successful people. I have noticed that those who are happy are those who follow most of them. Those who seem miserable are the ones who don't follow them. And the successful ones often don't even realize that is what they are doing. They are natural rule players, whereas the less instinctive ones often feel something is missing and spend their entire life looking for something, often themselves. They will miraculously give their life meaning or fill some empty void within them, but the answer lies much closer to home. Simple changes in behavior are all that is required. Can it really be that easy? No, of course not. To live by the rules, it's never easy. If it were, we would all have stumbled on this a long time ago. It has to be hard to make it worthwhile, and this is the beauty of the rules. They are all individually simple and attainable. You can aim high and go for them, or take one or two and start there. Me? No, I never get it all right either, ever. I fall by the wayside as often as anyone else. But I do know what to do to get back up again. I know what I have to do to make my life make sense again. By watching people, I came to realize that all of the rules of life are sensible. Personally, I love that sort of advice that begins with, "Go quietly." But I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that. However, a bit of advice such as, "Clean your shoes before you go out," makes more sense to me because that is something I can do, and more important, in which I can immediately see the logic. Incidentally, I still feel polished shoes make a better impression than scuffed ones. You won't actually find shoe polishing here, nor will you find anything inspirational and new age, which doesn't mean those things don't count. It's just that I feel it is better to have realistic things we can do rather than uplifting cliches that may well be true. Time is a great healer, for example, and love does conquer all, but when you want things to do, they don't hit the button as far as I'm concerned. What you will find is good old-fashioned common sense. There is nothing here you don't really know. This book isn't a revelation, it's a reminder. It reminds you that the rules of life are universal, obviously simple. Do them, they work. But what about those who don't do them and still seem successful? Well, I'm sure we all know people who have acquired great wealth and who are ruthless, unpleasant, dictatorial, and sail morally pretty close to the wind. And if that is what you want, it is attainable. But I'm assuming you want to be able to sleep nights, live with yourself, and be a thoroughly nice person. And the beauty of all this is it is entirely down to a personal choice. We all choose every day whether we are on the side of the angels or the beast. The rules of life help you choose to be on the side of the angels, but it's not compulsory. Personally, when I go to sleep at night, I like to do a quick recap of my day, and then, hopefully, I can say to myself, "Yep, good day, did okay," and feel proud of what I achieved, rather than feeling regretful and dissatisfied with my actions in life. I like to go to sleep feeling I've made a difference, been kind to people rather than hurting them, spread a little happiness, had some fun, and generally got nearer to a 10 than a 1 out of 10 for good behavior. The rules of life aren't about making lots of money and being incredibly successful. You might need to read the rules of work for that. It is quite simply about how you feel inside, how you affect people around you, what sort of friend, partner, and parent you are, what sort of impact you make on the world, and what sort of impression you leave in your wake. So, I've divided the rules of life into 5 areas: you, your partner, your family, your social circle, including work and friends, and lastly, the world, to represent the 5 unconscious circles we all draw around ourselves. Let's begin with the most important of these rules, the rules for ourselves. Personal rules, rules for us. They are the rules that will help us get out of bed in the mornings, face the world with a positive air, and navigate our way safely and successfully through our day, no matter what may arise. These are the rules that will help reduce stress levels, give us the right kind of outlook, encourage us to set our own standards and have goals to aim for. I guess that for each and every one of us, these rules will have to be adapted to take into account our upbringing and our age and our situation. We all need to have personal standards to live up to. They will vary from person to person, but it is vitally important to have them. Without them, we are adrift and unable to monitor how we are doing. With them, we have a firm center somewhere we can get back to, somewhere to touch base and recharge. They are a benchmark for personal progress. But it's not all about standards. It's also about lightening up, having fun, and enjoying life. So let's start out with rule number 1. Don't preach, propagate, even mention this. Keep it under your hat. You are about to become a rules player. You're about to embark on a life-changing adventure, possibly if you choose to accept your mission. You're about to discover ways to become positive, happier, more successful in everything you do. So there's no need to say anything to anybody about it. Keep it quiet. No one likes a know-it-all. That's it. First rule, keep it under your hat. There may well be times when you do want to talk to other people about what you are doing because, quite naturally, you want to share it with somebody. Well, you can't and you don't. Let them find out for themselves, with no clues from you. You may think this is unfair, but it's actually fairer than you believe. If you have to tell them, they'll shy away, and quite rightly so. We all hate being preached at. It's a bit like when you give up smoking and suddenly find this new healthy way of living and you simply have to convert all your old smoking friends. Trouble is, they aren't ready to quit yet and find that they label you as a smug or a prude or even a worse thing, an ex-smoker. And how we all hate those. So the first rule is quite simply, don't preach, propagate, try to convert, shout from the rooftops, or even mention this. You will get a warm glow from changing your attitude to life and having people ask, what is it you have done? What are you doing? You can say that it's nothing, merely a sunny day and you feel better, happier, livelier, jollier, whatever. There is no need to go into any detail because that's not really what people want to know. In fact, it's exactly the opposite of what they want to know. It's a bit like when someone asks you how you are. What they want to really hear is just the one word, fine. Even if you are in the pits of despair, that's all they want to hear because anything more requires commitment on their part. And for a casual, how are you? That's most certainly not what they want. What they want is just fine, and then they can be about their business without any further involvement. If you don't say fine, but instead unburden yourself, they'll walk back off pretty quickly. And it is the same with being a rules player. No one really wants to know, so keep it quiet. How do I know? Because when I wrote the rules of work, which turned a lot of people on to the ability to be successful in the workplace without having to resort to underhand means, I suggested the same thing and found it worked. Just get on with it. Do it quietly and go about your daily life happy and smugly without having to tell anyone or anything. So that is rule number 1 in your personal life. I'd like to jump around a little bit and go on to the social rules. And this is rule number 88, which I think is important right now with all that's going on. And it's called keep the moral high ground. Boy, is this a simple one to say and really difficult one to live up to. I do appreciate that it's a tough one, but I know you can do it. It takes a simple shift of vision from being the sort of person who acts in certain ways to be different and sort of a person who acts in a different sort of way. Look, no matter how rough it gets, you are never going to take revenge, act badly, be very, very angry, or hurt anyone, act without thinking, act rashly, or be aggressive. That's it. It's the bottom line. You're going to maintain the moral high ground at all times. You're going to behave honestly, decently, kindly, forgiving, nicely, whatever that means, no matter what the provocation, no matter what the challenge thrown at you, no matter how unfairly they behave, no matter how badly they behave. You will not retaliate in any kind. You will carry on being good and civilized and morally irreproachable. Your manners will be impeccable, your language moderated and dignified. There is nothing that they can say or do that will make you deviate from this line. Yes, I know it's difficult at times. I know when the rest of the world are behaving appallingly, and you have to just continue on and deal with things without giving in to your desire to floor them with a savage word. It is really, really tough when people are being horrible to you. It's natural to want to get your own back and lash out. Don't. Once this rough time is past, you'll be so proud of yourself for keeping the moral high ground that it will taste 1,000 times better than the revenge ever would. I know revenge is tempting, but you won't go there. No, not now, not ever. Why? Because if you do, you'll be sinking to their level. You'll be at one with the beasts instead of the angels. Because it demeans you and cheapens you. Because you will regret it. And lastly, because if you do, then you're not a rules player. Revenge is for losers. Taking and keeping the moral high ground is the only way to be. It doesn't mean you're a pushover or a wimp. It just means that any action you do take will be honest and dignified and clean. Keeping the moral high ground will taste 1,000 times better than revenge ever would. So, my dear friends, that is rule number 88 under social rules. The last one I'd like to share with you today is rules for you. This is rule number 35. Know where the true happiness comes from. No, I'm not about to reveal the secret people have sought since the beginning of time, where true happiness comes from, but I do know where it isn't to be found, and I do have an inkling where it might be. Let's take a scenario. You go out to buy a new car, a house, a suit, a computer, whatever turns you on. You have the money. No, I have no idea where you get it from. This is just an example. And you buy whatever it is, and it makes you feel incredibly happy, excited, fantastic. Now imagine whoever it was who built, made, created whatever it is you bought. When they made it, where did they fit that feeling in? I think you might have bought that feeling with you. Now imagine you fall in love. It is again incredible. You feel fantastic, happy, excited. You go to meet your new love, and when you see them, the feeling spills out in all directions. You feel amazing. You feel amazing because you are with them. They are generating that feeling, right? Wrong. Again, you bought it all with you. You may look to them to trigger it, but even if they go to the end of the planet, you still have that feeling, and they're nowhere near you. You get fired. Terrible. You're given your walking papers. You walk away devastated. You feel like nothing. Now, where in that documentation is that feeling you now have? Nowhere. That's right. Again, you brought it all with you. We all go to work every day with the potential to have that "I've just been fired" feeling. We all meet new people with the "I've fallen head over heels in love" feeling. But no amount of falling in love, buying new stuff, or getting fired is going to keep that feeling going for longer than it takes us to get over it. People get addicted to buying new stuff or falling in love or whatever because they just love that feeling without realizing that they already have it. They have to keep having their fix because they think it's the only way to get that feeling going. The secret is knowing how to trigger it without anyone else or anything else being involved. No, I don't know. You have to find that one for yourself. Clue. It's the one place you never think of looking. Yup. It's right inside of you. Well, my dear listeners and friends and people out there, I hope that Richard Templar and I have given you something to think about today. To think about the rules of life and how you can make your life better and more positive in this crazy world that we live in. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful month, and I look forward to being with you next month, and we'll share some more rules on life and some other stories also. Until then, you all take care, stay well, be careful, and enjoy the summer, and enjoy each other and spread the love. Until next time, this is Natalie Silver with Life Treasures and Golden Moments. God bless and take care. Bye for now.